Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Lindsay Briggs, and this is Start Now by Syracuse University. If you're interested in how trailblazing entrepreneurs got their start during their college years, then stick around. We can't wait to share this innovator's insight on how to run a successful business. Let's get started.
Today we have Queen Sheba, who is an artist and the founder of Poetry versus Hip Hop Live. She is going to talk to us about her journey today within the poetry and artist space and how she is socially impacting others in her community by doing so. For you, how did you get involved with poetry? Like, what is your
Bank of America fired me.
how did you?
At this point, I'm in my 40s, and I have been doing this career as a spoken word artist. This July will be 23 years. The 23, 22. I was fired from Bank of America in July of 2001. Because I was taking my tea. At that point, I was in the recovery department. The people that call you and say, "Hey, sell your dog, sell your cat, sell your blood, and pay your credit card bills." So we would call you and be like, "Hey, I know it's Christmas, but if you got extra children, like, can you get them to shovel some snow so you can so you can pay your credit card bills?" But so I was in the recovery department, and I was a supervisor there, and I was bored. And I've always been a writer. My undergrad degree is in English with a concentration in journalism. My master's degree is in fine arts. Of course, it's in creative writing with a concentration in spoken word from Queen's University of Charlotte. So I've always written songs, performed in the living room, but I always knew that I wanted more than just to be a performer. So I got into poetry. You know, the easy answer is when I was 7 years old, I was in a contest. I lost the contest and then was like, what? So I put black in the rainbow because when I see the rainbow, I see small black lines through the rainbow as like dividers for the colors, right? That's how I've always envisioned it. And so they gave me feedback as a 7-year-old, like, there's no black in the rainbow. And I'm like, yes, there is. I was like, of all the colors in the rainbow, there's black in the rainbow. And so it just, that really catapulted me, even with my 7-year-old mind, to say, I'm going to create whatever I want to create. That's what creative writing is for. I'm going to write my own books. I'm going to tell my own story. And we have people like that. We have Octavia Butler, who did science fiction. So we have the poets in the Renaissance period who were making up their life because of depression, oppression, and we have the poets in the civil rights period who had to write their way out of it. Elaine Brown, who was writing her way through the Black Panther Party. So there's all of these. Of course, there's Maya Angelou, there's Nikki Giovanni, there's Sonia Sanchez. There's all people who are like, you know what? I'm going to write what's happening in the world and add a little fiction in here so that our lives can be beautiful and digestible and magical and people can visualize what we're going through. So how I got into poetry, 7 years old, I entered a poetry contest. How I got to be a full-time professional spoken word artist is that I was working at Bank of America. And I started to take my team outside to listen to my poetry. And I guess a little frowned upon. But when I was fired, this young lady named Norma Shabazz, and I tell the story all the time. She does not mind me telling her name. I remember being at home, laying on the couch, and I had ordered a pizza with probably some of my last dollars, trying to think about how I was going to keep my car in my apartment. And at the time, I had a son at this whole time. So I remember Norma called me out of the blue, and we were not close friends. She just knew me from the bank, right? But she called me and she said, "What are you doing?" And I was, "Oh, I'm laying on the couch, I'm being depressed." Or she was like, "Being depressed? She wanted to do poetry. Like, now here's your opportunity. Like, get up. What's happening? Like, you wanted to do poetry, you wanted to travel the world, and you're on the couch depressed. The world has just opened up to you. And I will never forget that. And so, have I taken, part-time jobs along the way? Sure. But it's one of those things where your career is your career and then the part-time jobs are your hustle. Yeah, absolutely. I had to figure it out because there was no figuring it out. There is no career path for spoken word artists. We make it up as we go. And there are endless possibilities because when you can write, you are equipped with an armor that nobody can take away from you. So, I love it. I love it. Like, I just started. I still go to poetry readings and open mics, and people, what are you doing here? And I'm like, listening. That's what you're supposed to be doing. When I had my son with me at the very early stages of my poetry career, what was heartbreaking was that his father's side of the family didn't believe in it. They thought it was a fad, a joke, a hobby. People always say, "Oh, the number one question," and there's a quote. I should have looked up the quote. The number one question people ask me, what do you think? What do you think when you say, "Hey, Sheba, nice to meet you," what do you do? And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a spoken word artist." What do you think the number one question? Not the what do you do? Let's pretend they already know what it is. Let's pretend they already know what spoken word is. They're like, "Oh, okay." What do you think the number one question is?
What money do you make from it?
How do you make money? Absolutely.
That's always the question with artists.
You make money doing that? Like, yeah. And then it follows up with an insult. They're not trying to insult me. So I let it slide. So you is that all you do? What? Like, if I said I was a plumber, you would not ask me, is that all I do? You'd be satisfied with that I'm a plumber all day long, or a florist, or a dog walker, or anything that other people think is tangible or respectable. And so my charge with poetry versus hip hop with myself is spoken word poetry. I'm not a visual artist, so I can't talk about being a visual artist. Those things are tangible and respectable, and we show up in colleges and universities. I have had residencies at University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. Like, get out of here, So it is and my boss right now at Clark Atlanta University, one of the reasons that she hired me is because she remembered seeing me on the open mic. Of course, I had, you have to have your master's and the qualifications, but she's like, "Oh, yeah, I remember you, come on over." And I'm like, okay. So it is a respectable, amazing, and a lot of spoken word artists end up being professors, low residency, full-time residency. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing space to be in because we can be journalists. We can be the voice of the people. We write books. We write memoirs. It's not a joke. It's no longer a joke, guys. It's no longer a hobby. It's no longer a side hustle. It definitely can be a full-on career. Any art that you do can be a full-on career if that's what you want it to be. So yes.
And then too, you said something, profound, just when you have the skill of writing, and I think having any skill and really investing in your craft and practicing your craft, it's only going to make you better and put you in spaces like you've been offered. For students who are in the creative writing space or have that admiration for, that space, what is the advice that you would give them, about just the skill of writing and what they should kind of explore as they're going through their programs or, taking a writing course? What are some of the things that you did that, you're just like, you just looked at writing in a new way, and looked at it as a new way to tell a story and found different ways through writing to do that? What would be some of your tips or advice for that?
Showing versus telling is so super, super, super important. If you cannot see it with your eyes closed like a movie, we cannot see it. So there's a trend right now on TikTok, Instagram that says, show me your homeowner without showing me you're a homeowner.
Right.
Show me you're hungry without showing me you're hungry, right? So show me show me your emotion, show me love without saying that you love me. So it's the same exact thing. So if you take that trend that's going around and you say, and you apply that to your writing, show me your whatever without showing me your whatever. So show me love without telling me you love me. Show me anger without saying the word angry. Show me jealousy. Show me happiness. Show me what happiness feels like, touch like. So if you can use your 5 sensory skills, then we can see it. We can feel it. We will be right there with you. That's, if you're talking about on stage, is why people clap, because they connect. When they don't clap, they're not connecting. So I'm not saying there's not room for abstract writing as a spoken word artist. You definitely have to be super clever with that. That's not necessarily my forte. However, I will say that if you dance around the subject, if you dance around the story of losing your grandmother to cancer, or if you dance around the story of you being raped and you never told anybody, or you dance around the story of your first love and you're happy about it, like, oh, I met somebody and I love them. That's surface level. We don't know what that smelled like. What was the smell in the morning of love? What does love smell like? What does that feel like? How are you feeling on the inside? Like, what does that do to your body? How does it change you genetically? Like, what are your eyes? What does your face do when you see them? All of those things. If you can do that, then that is what we see when you're reading slash talking slash, or if we're reading it on paper. Same thing if we're reading it on paper. You know what I mean? Like, tell us everything. We're nosy. We want to know it all. So, and that's the biggest way, to think about it. Like, just consider somebody's listening or watching, and we're being nosy. So if you dance around it, we're going to be bored. We're not going to be interested.
Right. Showing, not telling, showing.
Show me you love me without saying you love me.
Exactly. And you got to feel it. That resonating is really, really big.
Yes.
And like you said, that's why you get the clap. That's why you get the applause. That's why you get the visibility, because someone resonated, and word of mouth, it's going to be spread like a domino effect.
Yeah, and take a risk. And there's that saying, there's nothing new under the sun, which is just saying that whatever you've gone through, somebody else has gone through, but it's your version of how you went through it.
Right. Right.
Take a risk.
During your higher ed and college years and grad school, what was your approach to writing?
I have never been afraid to share the Black and slash or the Black lesbian queer experience. So, don't shy away from being yourself. And I feel like me representing me representing people of color, me representing biracial people of color, me telling that story was very significant in my growth as a writer, because it wasn't the same as everybody else was writing about. And but it also, well, not but, and it also opened me up to listening to other people and hearing their experiences. So to kind of backtrack to your last question, one of the tips that I also give writers is to make sure you read. And in this digital age, make sure you read other works that you like, and make sure that you're watching other poets. Now, some people might say, no, I don't want to be influenced by other poets. You do want to be influenced by other poets. Don't become their clone, but it's the same thing as if you're into comedy, you would watch comedy. If you were into music, you would study music. So there is a way to study poetry and spoken word so that you are inspired to become your own person in your own voice. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think writing through the Black experience, writing through being a lesbian woman, a Black lesbian woman, a Black lesbian woman, growing up in a white family was definitely a unique situation, and my voice was heard and mostly appreciated.
Good. When you brought up, your family and, growing up in a white family and just poetry and the feeling and resonating, I kind of want you to go there a little bit. What are some feelings that you felt, you felt different, and I love that you leaned into that, because that's why you're doing what you're doing today, and you're on your.
Let me be very clear. I leaned into it recently, and I don't mean recently like last week. I mean recently like maybe the last 10 years, because
Right.
it took it took it took me, you know how your parents will tell you when you're growing up, don't worry about what other people say, but you do because we're children, right? And we value the opinion.
Even as adults, you do.
And even as adults, we do because we value the opinion of people we care about, or people we respect, or people we revere, right? I got to a place, and I'm gonna swing my braids. I got to a place where I did not care what other people. You know those thoughts we say, nobody's at home paying your bills, nobody's gonna pay you. You. That's kind of surface level. It doesn't really resonate with you until it does. And when it hit me, nobody is turning the key to this house. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And it's not that you don't care, like you're a stoic or sociopath. It's like, no. I care about me. I care about what the quality of my life is going to unfold. So if me sacrificing my happiness is going to alter or diminish the quality of my life, no way, not doing it anymore at all whatsoever. So
I love that you come to that realization, and a lot of
that's
us,
growing.
yeah, and that's why you say it's not haven't arrived. It's a journey.
It's a journey.
It's a journey for sure. Just we've gotten so many like nuances from you, and I love it. Thank you for sharing it so freely with us and so vibrantly with us. For people who I know that there's some people on who may not have experienced spoken word. Sometimes it can be confusing, like if you're not used to
Hopefully it's not confusing.
well, meaning you might think it's a song or performing, like music, or rapping, but spoken word is poet. So I'm putting you kind of on the spot,
I see it coming. I feel it coming. I'm like, okay, here we go. Like I see it coming.
but I would love for you to share what's on your heart, what comes to mind, a piece that really resonates with you, and that you would love to share with us. I know we would love to, and I would love to hear you live. So,
All right. I'm going to well, I was gonna put a word in the chat, but it doesn't look like okay. So I'm gonna edit a word at the it's not a curse word at all. It's a regular word. However, depending on the audience can be interesting. So I'm gonna edit the word, and the word I'm going to use is meditation. Safe word, every comfortable word. The word originally for the poem is not meditation. It does start with M and it does end with a shun, but it is not meditation. But you will probably understand the word that is originally written in there when I get to that part. So, all right. So here's a poem called Cardinal. And again, the edited word I'm going to use is meditation
meditation, we got it.
at the end. Right. Okay. A 10-year-old walks into my grandmother's closet. A mini Southern Baptist diva, too young to know what diva is, struts out. Hat flapping over her face, wicker bending to kiss the side of her cheek after every step, a wide yellow bow trailing down her back where one day she hopes her wedding dress would be. One white glove hand imitating a frantic fanning of the face as if she was just to pass out from heat exhaustion. Pearls draped 4 times around her neck and red lipstick smeared from ear to elbow. One of those Kodak moments. Good thing digital wasn't out then. Too many things to erase and forget, eaten up by bad memory. First day of 5th grade, does it look like I want my brother's hand-me-down? I am too patent leather Mary Janes and Hello Kitty for that. My mother would dress us in the same Save Mark clothes the entire neighborhood wore. I would always find a phone booth on my way to the bus stop, peeling back jackets she was waiting for me to grow into, jeans not too trendy, not too tight. At recess, we were already practicing hairstylists and clothing designers, switching tops and ideas. Scissors, the original 5-in-1 tool, turned sweatshirts into mini skirts, a perfectly good pair of tights into fishnet, recombing and twisting each other's hair on the steps while boys ran in circles chasing dust. College, my brother's old fatigues turned patchwork skirt, afro, and Angela Davis t-shirt had folk clutching their purses like they were running back trying to make first down. It's Kinko's, people. I'm just trying to copy my chat book, for Christ's sake. Wanted to get my word out to the people, let them know the revolution was coming, and me wearing my brother's fatigues 24 days straight symbolized that quiet protest why they didn't send those troops home. My brother lost his life 3 days after being sent off to war, decided his government issue 9mm tastes better than cold turkey on rye that day for lunch. No note, no nothing. Just some orderlies to clean up his remains, chunks of his brain tissue caught between the fibers of the mop and the sponge smeared him into the wood grain of the mess hall floors, gives new meaning to driftwood. On vacation, my white parents tried their best to play color match with their Negro child. They were hippies, flower children, caught between the movement and privilege. Adopting me, they said, was their effort to try to save the world. Well, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Lucky for them, their color would fade. Right here, we are all 21 years old and holding. Forgive me for not sounding or looking like you expect me to. There are two type of people in the world, me and everybody else. The awesome thing is you can repeat the same mantra. Find yourself a compact, a rear view, or dark windows on a building as we're speed walking through lunch. Repeat 3 times daily and call on me never. This is the part of the poem where I'm supposed to tell you why. Nah, shout it. This is how it's always gonna be. I'm always going left when the world says north. I'm always wearing plaid and polka dots while salads are in. My cadence will always be rocker meets hip hop before life support. And I will always want to slip my wrists after a bad breakup, but I won't because I'm too fly, and that's simple. And this poem is about you and I and how it seems to be a cardinal sin for us to think that we're great. Well, I happen to look up the word cardinal, much sought after cage bird, highly valued for its song and color. Look, life is like meditation. Do you? The trick is not to believe that you are better. Not to believe that you are better. But Syracuse, never believe you're worse. Go. And that's it.
Woo! Yes. Snap, snap. I should do the snap, snap.
No, you better clap. You better clap. We are 9 to 6.
Understand. You guys get the applause.
Yes.
That was amazing. That was great. I felt it. I wanted to like bop with it. I felt in her, the storytelling, you really showed me. And I really wanted you to do that because I wanted whoever's watching the audience to really feel what you had just expressed and experience what you had just expressed. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Queen Sheba. You have been a light tonight, and you have really spread some good stuff, some good news, some good stuff for us tonight. And so thank you so much. We are going to get out of here, and we will see you on the next Start Now show with Syracuse University. I'm your host, Lindsay Briggs, and we will see you next time.
Join us next time on another episode of Start Now. To see more episodes, visit newhouse.syr.edu/startnow.